So here we have the LCK match of the week. This is something that Riot has just started putting out, where they're releasing the what they consider the best matches from each region, and they're going to be doing this on a weekly basis. And for this week, it's Kingzone versus BBQ. Now, they haven't actually released what the criteria is for these best matches of the week, but I'm going to go ahead and start casting some. And we're going to start here in spring 2018, Kingzone versus BBQ. Kingzone currently sitting on top of the LCK, also being regarded by pretty much everybody, including Thorin, about how they are the best team in the world right now, and they have a great base to be able to take Worlds in 2018. So nothing shocking. Kingzone, the former Longzhu team, looked good in 2017, and in 2018 all the pieces have come, and Khan is looking like the best top laner in the world. Peanut is in discussion of being the best jungler in the world. Prey and Gorilla have consistently been a top 3 bot lane excuse me, throughout all their different teams. And this team really looks like it can test the teams of the former Samsung team, the KT, the resurging SKT, Africa. They have good chances against all of these teams. So now that we've given a little bit of a preview, we're going to go ahead with the picks. The first pick, Sejuani, is a very common first pick for pretty much almost all teams in every region. It's a very safe pick, and with the junglers, generally we're seeing as 2 or 3 jungle bans, and what we're seeing exactly here with Skarner and Olaf being banned by Kingzone, and then first picking the Sejuani. Basically, you get rid of some of the opponents, and you're basically forcing BBQ to pick, let's say, Zac or a Jarvan or one of these that are just slightly lower tier than Sejuani, though many people would say that Zac is right up there. The bot lane by BBQ being picked up in response, and a very, very safe meta bot lane here in Braum and Tristana. Nothing going out on a limb there. Just should play well into anything, and then into Kingzone, responding by picking up the Caitlyn, who has a big lane advantage over Tristana, specifically in the range department. So definitely in lane, the first 10 to 12 minutes should be in favor of Kingzone, and they're really trying to get that first turret and move their bot lane up to top lane. Kingzone also going ahead and blind picking the Azir, so favoring power meta picks over trying to hide their solo laners, and they're just doing whatever they want to do. So they're picking their team, and they're allowing BBQ to go ahead and respond. And being able to do that, we're seeing the Syndra come right up for BBQ, and they're going to be trying to get kills on this Azir with having this powerful burst mage try to go against the steady damage and wave clearing of the Azir. So Azir is going to be getting a small nerf in 8.5. This is 8.4, as you can see down below. So this is currently the strongest that Azir is in this current iteration of the meta. And BDD is just choosing to go ahead and pick that before any of these changes start to happen, and he might still get picked even after the changes. So a couple of the bans, we're seeing BBQ go ahead with Jace and Camille trying to pinch the top lane of Khan, and those are 2 hard carries that he's been known to take over games with. Kingzone is further constricting the jungle pool with Kha'Zix and Zac. Like I said, Zac was probably going to be the most likely jungler picked up, and with these 2 bans are causing BBQ to choose their jungler last. It's something that you don't normally see. Nar picked up blind, which is a little bit unusual. I would have thought that they would have picked their jungler there and then have the top lane counter pick against Khan, but they're choosing instead to pick Gnar and save the jungler for last. So a bit of creative champion selecting there. Not something I would necessarily do against what I was just saying was how universally Khan is the best top laner in the world. And showing how good he is, he's going to be picking the new nerfed Gangplank right into Gnar. So yes, Gnar has also gotten a couple of nerfs as well, but Gangplank with the heavier nerfs, and he's going to pick into the losing matchup. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and pick into the losing matchup and just say that he will not be smashed in top lane and will instead carry his team in the mid to late game. So this is very well what they could be hiding. BBQ, if they pick this this Ivern, that would really, I would understand why they saved it for last, because you have a whole team comp that needs to be built around it. But also, like I was saying, it was either going to be the Zac or the Jarvan. The Jarvan comes out, and it is a pretty aggressive team. So they do have a little bit of tank with the Braum and the Gnar when Gnar hits Mega, but it's when Gnar is not in his ultimate form, Braum is going to be the sole tank. So lots of burst damage with the Tristana, Syndra, Jarvan, and lots of engage, but not a whole lot in the back line, and really it's just Braum who's going to be peeling for the team. Over here in Kingzone, going ahead and choosing the Janna, although Tahm Kench was being a possibility. Janna ends up being, it seems like, the better pick here, because she's going to be able to control the engages in the team fight scenario here against this BBQ team, who is going to be looking to, in fact, do that same thing. They're going to be looking to dive and engage on someone, and Janna is the perfect support to be able to back that idea up and then follow it up with a positive engage of their own. So yes, Tahm Kench would have been able to do that for a single member and has some playmaking possibilities with his ultimate, but the Janna, excuse me, overall seems to be overall better for the team comp, and you have Gangplank there, who's is going to be one of the carries, and he can get himself out of one of the CCs just from his fruit. But the rest of the team will need some assistance with the disengages. So you have the definite team comps here, definite styles, and this one is dive, 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 with the Kingzone team being let's carefully take our fights. We have our tank and Sejuani, who will be able to out-tank the Braum, and Janna to be able to control the fights. They have the late game scaling with Syndra and with Caitlyn for very, very late game. Sorry, I said Syndra. I meant Gangplank and Caitlyn. Excuse me. And they're going to be able to choose when and where that they want to fight this BBQ team. So I spoke a little bit about Kingzone, a little bit being about. Excuse me. I just had a little bit of granola here this morning, and got some of these dry oats in the back of my throat. What can you do? This is a cast, and granola happens. But anyways, back to BBQ. They seem to be kind of the kingmakers. I know when the Thorin talk show of the future world champions, when they talk about Korea every week, they are constantly befuddled about this BBQ team, because they set themselves up for victory, but then find very unique ways to throw games in the mid game and towards the end game. Like, they'll have a lead, and then they'll engage in some uneven fight and will end up throwing their very hard-fought lead that they've built up over the 15 to 30 minute mark. And so they're kind of like the gatekeepers, where they can take games off of the best teams in the league, and then they can also lose games against the worst teams in the league. So we have to see which BBQ is coming out, and I would suspect, since this is the LCS, Riot Games League of Legends Game of the Week, I imagine that they do take Kingzone here deep, and whether or not they beat them or not, it is a matter of importance, because you have playoffs starting very shortly. This is I believe week 9 of the season, and with a 10-week season, there's your teams are looking to get into playoff form. And we're going to have to see if Kingzone can take this BBQ team late and then defeat them in the end. Because a lot of the teams and the coaches and the people doing the analysis are going to be watching this Kingzone team for any weakness. And this very well could be a series that some of these weaknesses are found. Again, I'm hypothesizing because I have not watched this series. I do not know who wins this series. Obviously, Kingzone is favored, but because this is the match of the week, gotta think BBQ makes a real effort of it. So I'm ready and set for some awesome games here. And here we have the bot lane starting off, just like what was supposed to happen when you have 2 range, as well as the longest range in the game with the Caitlyn. And they're just able to keep this BBQ bot lane duo of Ghost and Ignar below half health and start getting some early damage on the turret already at the 3-minute 30 mark. CS also very much in favor. Basically, Caitlyn doubling the Tristana, and at 4 minutes, this is about as ideal of a circumstance as you could be hoping for. So good play of the champion's strong points here. It's Prey and Gorilla. And we'll take a little peek at the junglers. So the Sejuani doing a better job getting the farm lead here, as Peanut is hard farming as Sejuani with almost the most farm in the game, with Caitlyn only minorly having more farms. So what you normally see as a pretty tank utility-based jungler, Sejuani here occasionally being seen taking massive CS leads. And as you can see, he started with the Hunter's Machete, so probably running attack speed as well. So using a little bit more of an aggressive starting jungle item. And it was said that I'm watching week 8 of the North American LCS, casters there were saying about how the Hunter Machete is better at single camps, whereas the other jungle item is better at the large multi-camps, so the Raptors and such. So just a little bit of difference in the starting items, but here J4 is going to start where he's strong, and that's early ganking. Going to get the flag and drag with the already stunned opponent from Syndra. They're going for the first blood. The shield is out, the barrier's out, and not quite enough. It wasn't barrier, in fact, that was just his shield. And it was a heal used, so being able to get out of that while saving his flash is BDD, and that's really good maneuvering, even though the moves of BBQ were perfect in that. So a nice gank and good minimum use of summoners while staying alive here from BDD, and this is the type of plays that he's been doing all season. And before we go on with that, Nara going heavy onto the Gangplank. This is Gangplank who picked into this Nara. Nara's got him at 2 bars, but quickly that changes up to 4 bars with all of the healing that Gangplank's able to do here with his corrupting potion. So they're going for the dive. It's a 3-on-1 with Peanut being driven out. Trick taking as much damage as he can here on the J4, but that nice fall-away shot from Nar, crazy here for BBQ, getting up that first blood, and that is a very, very fortunate turn of events here at the tower for BBQ, and just the start that they were looking for with this Nar, not only taking the CS lead, but taking the farm lead on the Gangplank. And if you look at this first buy here, it is not the Phage first buy, it's actually Ninja Tabbies with components of the Phage. Well, we're going to see how we got there. A good early damage here from Crazy. As you're going to see, he's going to Gnar him right into the wall. Well, not into the wall. In fact, if he got him to the wall, that would have been enough. But not only getting damage, but pushing the way to the tower. the team with the teleport coming up, and that was Syndra, who doing an unusual teleport in the top lane. Normally you see her going to the bot lane, but wanting to make sure to get this top lane ahead, committing a fair bit of time and resources towards it, and there that last Gnar auto attack finishing GP right underneath the tower when it looked like he was just about out. And farm very even in the middle, and that you have to give credit to Syndra for being able to do that, using his TP and his roam to go to top lane to help his top laner get a first blood while staying even in CS with this wave pushing monster that is Azir. Gold is about even, and that just shows the good farming of Kingzone. You can see the big difference in the junglers, the Sejuani versus the Jarvan, and whereas Jarvan does have that successful dive in the top lane, tanking the turret, getting Gnar a first kill, Sejuani has been more focused on getting the camps and getting to level 6, which he is now. And we'll be hitting level 7 a little bit before Trick. Not much, but just a little bit. This is a very difficult camp for Jarvan to clear. As a Jarvan jungle player myself, you're always trying to take as less damage as possible, the least amount. And here being able to show, dragging the camp over to the bush, and using a combination of your autos and EQ. Something else that's also very important for this Jarvan is getting these red buffs, because once you start to get initial damage, your opponent is generally going to be trying to run from you. And as someone who plays Jarvan himself, having that slow in addition to your EQ knockup and your Cataclysm R is invaluable and really helps you secure kills for your lane opponent. So GP not wanting to get pushed in with this wave is going to go ahead and ult it, buy himself a little bit of time, which he's going to quickly go back and buy. And that's just a little bit of wave mechanics there from Khan, realizing that he does not want to get too much further into a CS differential against this Gnar, using his ultimate just to make sure to get him, to make sure to keep him at about the same level, as opposed to helping out his teammates there on the bot lane, which is normally where you see the first ultimate use from Gangplank. Bot lane, the CS differential is about the same here at 25. This will narrow to about 20 to 15 with the CS gotten here. Jarvan coming in quickly, but the Janna Q expertly timed from Gorilla, knocking that gank away, and Jarvan has not only been seen, he was unfortunately failed a little bit in that gank, so it was a little bit of try and fail. But Peanut already has the vision control, though he's being seen by this control ward. Once again, pressure onto Khan, and he's down to less than a quarter life. But look at the respect that this Gnar has, starting Ninja Tabi with first blood, and then just choosing not to dive this Gangplank, or even put any sort of major pressure with him under tower with that advantage already. So just showing Khan the respect that frankly he's earned throughout this 2018 LCK split. And with continued good farming, Kingzone has taken the gold lead, now almost at 1,000. So just shows you about how kills are not all important, and that farming at the very, very top levels is often just as valuable as a kill. First Dragon Mountain is at the 11-minute mark. Neither team has put any sort of concerted effort towards attaining that. Jarvan did get the last Scuttle Crab, so that could be an indication that he may want to make a play for it, but last thing you want to do is try to get either Rift Herald or Dragon and then lose a team fight after. So both teams very wary about that, and choosing instead to have a more careful approach to these neutral epic objectives. So lane swap has been initiated. Bot tower did go down in favor of Kingzone, so just a little bit of gamesmanship here. It was the first tower that got them the gold lead, not only the farming. So a combination of these two factors. And they're going to try to do the exact same thing that they did on bottom, and that's take this tier 1 top turret while also maintaining sufficient ward coverage so that they don't get ganked by the Jarvan trying to turn this lane around. Normally with the Caitlyn, you just want to move her to wherever the next objective is. So you take your bot lane turret, move her to the top. You take the top turret, move her to the middle. Once that's been taken, then you're deciding which lane to go for the tier 2s. And you just continually move up, move up, move up until your opponents have no more towers, they have no more inhibitors, and you win the game. So Peanut not taking very much jungle dragon damage, excuse me. This is because of the awesome CS and items that she's been able to build. Janna being taken out by the EQ Cataclysm, so seeing the squishy Janna out just a little bit forward in position, and unfortunately that is one of the dangers of having the Janna, is that you can't take these all-in dive attempts if you're not able to land your Q and or your ultimate. Big time dive here in the bottom, and this will most likely be effective as Khan only has so many lives and it has only so many CC negations in his kit. So a quick 0-2 at the 13-minute mark for Khan, and yes, he's just bought his Trinity Force, so he is just going to be starting to get some of this early damage that you need from Gangplank. But quick, before we have Azir getting all kinds of damage onto the Braum, and he's just down to one shot, and BBD using the heal to try to get under turret, and for that last shot almost gets it, and just showing the value of each kill. Both teams going for the support and using their ultimates to try to get any sort of advantage, and really they're not being picky. They'll take anything to get any sort of map movement pressure on the opposing team, and there Janna's right back at it, at the opposing red buff, trying to get this damage and CC onto Jarvan, who is just barely able to get away because of that blasting cone, and this also means most likely a red buff taken away, since they have complete ward coverage on this top side, this red side of the BBQ jungle, as I said, into the top side. So not only are they going to be able to take that red buff, knock the Jarvan away, but they're going to be able to do a dive onto this top lane and see everyone coming in. Early damage onto the Peanut, and he's going to back away, not wanting to over-aggress too much. I thought for sure they were going to go for that. The tower is weak, and you have really, really strong vision over on the enemy side that they would have to encroach on. So again, a little bit of respect here. They're going to send their bot lane back, and let's see where they end up sending them. I predict they're going to send Janna and Caitlyn up top again until they get that turret. They are pinging it out, and they are sending them top. Also is the blue buff going to be going over for BDD, who is most likely going to try to push this wave in. Well, that was until you saw the Jarvan there. So you want to keep this wave pushed in if you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on top, and that'll mean that the Syndra cannot use her roaming potential to turn those tides yet again. And over the course of this game, she has changed her teleport over to heal. So BDD feeling the dive possibly coming forward, stun onto him, and Peanut responding extremely well. Huge Shurima shuffle into the ultimate of Peanut, and he's going to get the Syndra underneath the tower. Blue Buzz traded over, and well, although Azir was able to get the kill onto Syndra, Syndra getting the return kill, I didn't see how. It might have been a delayed stun back onto Azir. So a little bit of a trading going forth, and still the game very, very close, with BBQ having the Mountain Dragon lead here at the 17-minute mark. So if we're going to see this this play, and excellent use to get both members underneath the tower. Both are fairly squishy at this point, and stopwatch used by Tempt. And yeah, it was just a delayed ability by Syndra there that picked up the kill on Azir under turret, but this top lane turret should not last too much longer, and you don't really see BBQ putting too much of a concerted effort to try to defend it. Really, one shot is just going to be all it takes to knock that turret down. And with Jarvan going top, they could be trying to do a counter gank. They do know Peanuts here. It'll just be a straight 3-on-3 if that's what they choose, but not having the turret there's really no reason for Kingzone to engage in a fight. There's no objective to fight for. And Rift Herald will be started, but unbeknownst to them, they are on a ward. So they do see that this is being taken. Now, what plan are they going to concoct showing what they've shown up top? And they're choosing to get Caitlyn out of lane. The jump into the E is going to send Caitlyn back around the long side. Still vision of her. And we've got a straight 4-on-4 fight with Gnar on his way up to be able to turn this fight in favor of BBQ. So, objective over to BBQ. And Gangplank just continues to farm in mid lane. He was close enough that if there was going to be a big fight, he was going to be able to get back into the mix and use his ultimate to also deal some damage. But Khan is still in scaling mode, looking to work towards that second item, which he's probably heading back right now to do. Also went the Relic Shield start, just to be able to give him a little bit of extra sustain. And the Joran's Fist also being taken up. Going to go for that second item, Sterix Gauge, that we've seen are ever so popular of the Gangplanks. Used to be the Yomus, and now it's the Sterix Gauge. Next dragon up, and it is an Infernal Dragon. Looks like Kingzone will be starting it. Now, if they knew that Tristana was heading back, they would most certainly start this, but they don't know that she was about to back. They don't know that she stayed, but they are realizing that BBQ wasn't going to hand over that dragon for free, and they're going to choose to push out their lanes instead. Continued big damage. We have a completed black cleaver from Crazy, and he's still able to push the Gangplank underneath the turret. TP coming in from the Gnar, follow-up TP from Gangplank. Both teams looking to head back towards their own team. 5-on-5 with the Dragon, now going to be able to be smited away. Smite successful by Jarvan, with the Sejuani just a little bit late. I think they're going to be looking to try to continue this fight. They have a slight advantage, even though they lost the Dragon. Now with that Syndra stun, really, they are going to think twice about it. That was enough damage following back from Tempt on the Syndra that Kingzone is going to rethink that team fight. Jungle farm has narrowed in the last 10 minutes. Both junglers still have not died as of yet. Only deaths being on Gangplank, Azir, Janna, and Syndra. So the gold is very close, but some very key dragons over for BBQ here at the first half of this game. Now Kingzone does have a slight scaling advantage with Gangplank, Azir, Caitlyn, but BBQ is pushing to a slight mid-game advantage here so far. And emphasis on very slight, but still. there with overwhelming amounts of damage from Gnar and Syndra, but not very much towards the Tristana. So Tristana is going to be looking to do a little bit more of an impact here in the next team fight. Both teams returning to lanes, making sure to get the maximum amount of buys with the current income they do have. Both AD carries on pretty much the exact same build, with Caitlyn only having a Doran's Blade to help with that sustain a little bit. And the gold actually in the top lane is virtually even, with Gnar only having 100 up on the Gangplank, and that just shows how valuable the Gangplank with Kleptomancy is, you know, it's really the difference of 2 kills and 40 farm here at the 23-minute mark. And Gangplanks are fine with how this is played out. Just like this, going down 2 kills, losing, not losing your turret, but having even gold at the 23-minute mark, that they would take this. And the early kill on towards Jarvan, who gets caught out just a little bit. Follow-up damage by the GP, and the ultimate is just raining down, splitting the teams. And Caitlyn is going to be trying to survive, and just barely is able to get out the damage from Crazy. Excuse me. And a little advantage here from Kingzone. Caitlyn is down to 1 shot, so they're not going to have her damage for this Baron take. Really 1 shot from the Baron, and that'll be about it. But with BBQ engaging now with Ghost at 1 shot, Caitlyn can come back and try to make a difference into this team fight. Instead, going to choosing to go to mid, and it's going to be a free Baron over for Kingzone off of that 3-for-0 trade. And yes, Caitlyn was very, very close to going down, but was it possibly 3-for-1? I think I saw one person from Kingzone go down. Might have been the Janna. Yeah, Janna goes down. It was a 3-for-1 with Caitlyn being 1 shot. Kingzone now with a very definite gold lead of 3,000. BBQ trying to make a play here. They're being very aggressive, trying to get on an early kill onto the Janna, but instead of what's happening is Janna being able to get the kill back onto Jarvan. She's not just a support, she's a carry too. Trading back underneath the tower, they're going to be able to pick up the second kill onto Crazy. And now with a 5-on-3, looking to either stay mid or go Baron. I think they're going to be doing a little bit of both. Mid tower is going to go down extremely quickly. Actually, Baron's already been taken, and with a 5-on-3, they're going for not only 1 middle turret, but 2 middle turrets, and the first real sort of major gold lead in this game. Even though BBQ has taken those first 2 dragons, they are at risk of falling extremely far behind from this Baroned up Kingzone team. And wow, how the tables have turned. A couple of bad team fights for BBQ, and Kingzone is not just happy with taking a small dragon or a couple of outer towers. They're pushing right down the middle to take all the middle towers with the inhibitor. This was engaged on by BBQ, so they wanted this, and they wanted the burst onto Gorilla, knock him out of the fight, and were willing to risk everything to do it. And it just proves to be not worth it in the end. Jarvan just did not have the follow-up damage from his team to be able to finish off Gorilla in that manner. And after that, the tower didn't even matter. If you don't have your Jarvan in there, the 5-on-4 can be won even under turret. So whereas the game was fairly close before, now Kingzone are looking at how they can finish this game. Super's already pushing in the mid wave. The responding Infernal Dragon is going to negate the any sort of damage advantage that BBQ used to have. And Kingzone is has got an outer tower here in the top lane to focus on and cement their lead. Really a lot of standout performances from Kingzone. I know initially you look at the jungler Peanut for getting that early CS lead on Trick and really being able to be at the right place at the right time, facilitating your lanes. If you're looking at Prey, at Caitlyn, getting that bot turret, being able to switch up top to get the top turret, not going down yet, just keeping that constant pressure and really good positioning. And of course, when you're looking at Khan, yes, getting down to an 0-2 deficit, but still being a massive part of why his team is able to take this sort of lead. And Khan taking on 2 people despite having 2 deaths already, and he's doing real damage to 2, and he had a chance of even being able to go 3-0. And this Kingzone team appears to be just running it down the middle and with no regard to BBQ's team comp. Just taking their lead and their scaling champions with the 10,000 gold lead at this point and running away with it, not caring about towers and just waiting for their minion wave to come up to be able to knock down these teams. Just appears to be very formulaic now. Kingzone not wasting any time. It's a little bit of damage onto the Azir, but so much more damage is able to get traded back. Bottom and middle waves pushing up. There's not many more turrets. It looks like this is going to be the final stand for BBQ. Trick going in and then backing off. A little bit of dipsy-do. Kingzone realizing that 2 members are at half HP, Gorilla with not very much mana, and they're going to head back. And a little addition here on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see the inhibitor timers. It's part of the Korean scene that none of the other scenes have adopted. I personally like it. I mean, as a caster, I keep a rough idea of when the inhibitors are up. But just being able to say, hey, mid-inhibitor is up in 1 minute and 15 seconds, Kingzone really has to, BBQ really has to defend that, you know, as a speaking point of the game, whereas before I would say, okay, mid-inhibitor is up in about 1 minute or 2, that sort of thing, and BBQ will have to start defending this middle of the map and look for that final fight in that time. So, also part of Worlds in 2017, in the LCK region, they mentioned the coach's name with the teams. But then in the other regions, they didn't mention the coach's name. It's either Worlds or MSI that I'm noticing that. Well, still that same 10,000 gold lead. Middle inhibitor up in 10 seconds. BBQ is going to have to fight around this last turret. Here they're going. They're trying to get big damage onto the Azir, but the Hourglass is going to be enough to deflect that, knocking back both tanks into the team, because right now it doesn't really matter whether you're knocking back tanks or carries, and with those couple of kills, going to finish it off. Minions running right into base, and it's not even going to matter that the mid inhibitor is up. Prey, right up there, and Caitlyn right up in the nexus. Going to be able to clear it out. Drink that tea. Take that little bit of a breath. The game was close for the first 20-25 minutes, and then you guys with your Baron. 2 team fight wins with a Baron. And that's the official screenshot. Noticing some of the Korean teams taking cell phone pictures of the screen just so that they can talk about this a little bit over the over the break between match 2, and it was a close game, just you know, only for a certain amount of time. But Kingzone better than every other team in the league at being able to close out victories from ahead. And once they started winning those team fights, BBQ was left grasping at straws, trying to dive Janna. And if you're not able to get that first kill, and she can live, and your jungler dies, you're in a lot of trouble. And with Baron, they ran it right home here at Kingzone. So, game 1 of the Week 7 matchup between Kingzone Dragon X, BBQ Olivers, and game 2 coming up shortly.